James here on Pure West for your Thursday evening. And once a month, I have the absolute pleasure of either being in the hot seat or I tune in. It's on the second Thursday of every month, 9 till 11. And this is your health, wellness, well-being show where we look at lots of different topics and issues, and hopefully we can make you feel a whole lot better, or hopefully we can help signpost you, hopefully take some of that weight off you and just give you the right information and the right advice and guidance along the way. I am joined now by the lovely Tammy Foley here this evening. It's so good to see you again. How you doing?
Oh, it's really nice to be back. It feels like we haven't seen each other for months.
I think it has been. That's why it's been a long old time. It's lovely to be back with you. I'm with you for the next couple of months, which is great. Now, just some breaking news in actually, Tabby, that I must let our listeners and followers know about. There is a fake profile of myself actually currently scamming the Pure West Radio page, and I've just had a message now from Rachel Louise saying, "Good evening, Toby. Just thought I would like to send you this link to have a look at a fake profile that is contacting people pretending to be you and asking your listeners to register." Now, this is just a warning that we always say on all of our competitions. You will see this. We get scammed regularly. It's so disheartening, and it is hard. It's awful for us here at Pure West Radio because we have to deal with our listeners and followers that are getting scammed. And right now, some of our listeners and followers could be getting scammed. It's just awful. It's horrendous. They are create fake profiles of Pure West Radio, of our presenters. And this evening, literally just 10 minutes ago, they've targeted me. So it is a scam. It's a fake profile. Just please remember, we will never, ever ask for you to click on any link. We will never ask for your bank details. All of our competitions are completely free. If you're ever in doubt about any of our competitions, or if you're ever in doubt to think if it is a fake profile or not, please message us just like Rachel did, because then we can confirm that it is a fake profile. And you can hopefully tell the real genuine profiles, because you'll see a nice blue tick to say that it has been verified and my official account is verified. So please don't click on any links. It's not me. It is a fake profile, and please report it. So it's really sad, Tammy, and you deal with a lot of people that this really affects.
We are going to talk about that workplace well-being, and to actually just be experiencing something in real time is a really kind of important. We can share that with the listeners of Pure West Radio. Just that feeling as your notifications were going there, of just that overwhelming either anxiety or frustration. Why me? And just having that impact emotionally on mental health right now. So it's that bittersweet, I'm really sorry it's happened to you, but at the same time, we are talking about the workplace well-being and keeping ourselves mentally healthy.
And this is it, it's I guess a nature of the beast, if you're in the public eye, and if these people are usually on the other side of the world, just behind a computer more often than not. And they're looking for, pages that have lots of traffic, lots of profiles that, people that have lots of friends and followers. And, they do that to, create a cyber crime. But it has huge effects. I mean, as I said to you off air just before we kicked off the show, it really doesn't bother me. What bothers me the most is that some of our listeners and followers could be putting in their bank details into a scam, and they could be losing their hard-earned cash, which is awful. And, this day and age, we do have some great insurances and security, and the banks are fab. But you still have to go through that whole process of trying to claim it back and filling out forms and making phone calls. It's just a hassle that a lot of people really don't want. And if it's a very clever and sophisticated scam like some of these are, you could just bank transfer the money over and it's gone forever, because, there isn't sufficient protection for things like that. It's very difficult and very sad for some people, this, isn't it?
Yeah, no, absolutely, and it's that deceit afterwards, isn't it? Why did I respond in the way that I did? Why did I think that it was genuine? And again, it's really poignant that we can discuss this because it's actually happened. And it's a really good time to actually share with listeners that it's not you. So it's a really good platform in this show to actually share that information with everyone.
Certainly is. We've got some great topics on the way tonight, Tammy. Like you said, we'll get stuck into our first one, workplace well-being. Also this evening, we'll be having a good chat about surface level self-care. What is that?
It's about surface level self-care is actually making the time to look after ourselves. And we can almost like agree with people and say, yes, I'm going to do it. But we don't actually see it through. So it's about making time, genuine time, real time to look after ourselves, emotionally, physically, mentally, even spiritually, just to keep us grounded. And again, because if we have those resources, if we look after our energy, if we recharge our batteries, then we're able to look after our loved ones, our friends, our communities, our neighbours.
Look forward to chatting to you a little bit more about that later. And also Carl Williams will be joining us as well in about 10 minutes time. So looking forward to having a catch up with him and sort of seeing how health, fitness and well-being, really do come together to hopefully lead you to have a better, happier and healthier life. Also, emotional seasonal affective disorder. Sad. We all get sad from time to time, but this one affects our moods as the seasons change.
Yes, I mean, we can think about sad as only just being in the winter months. But again, I'm an advocate to say it can happen at any time of the year. So whether we're going into spring or whether we're moving into summer, and it's just being mindful now that, next month the clocks are going to go back. It's going to start getting darker again, and how we can look after ourselves as we don't go outside so much. So yeah, it's a good show tonight with good topics.
Yeah, we've got lots to get through. And if you haven't heard of seasonal affective disorder, it's a type of depression that comes and goes with the seasonal patterns. You might think that you chime with that one. You're thinking, crikey, it's coming into autumn, or I'm feeling a bit not right. It's a thing. My daughter's the complete opposite, which is fascinating. She just doesn't deal well with the heat at all. And she was really angry and sad that we had this heat wave at the start of September. She was devastated. Honestly, she was devastated. She was not happy. She was like, "Well, autumn, just hurry up. I don't like this heat anymore."
Oh,
So it goes both ways. It's as the seasons change, your mood certainly changes. So yeah, great show tonight then. So kicking things off for us then, Tammy, workplace well-being. How can we be in a happier workplace? Where do we begin with this one?
It's that work-life balance, isn't it? If we think about the workplace well-being, when we went into kind of COVID and we went into lockdown, our well-being changed because we were in the house and we had to kind of change our behaviour, change the way that we worked, and now we're back into that kind of normality again. That workplace well-being is making sure that we are balanced in our day-to-day life, again, so that we're looking after ourselves, we're looking after our colleagues, we're checking into making sure that everyone's okay. Those coffee breaks that we have, where we just have that inconsequential language, where we just have those informal chats. Those are really, really crucial to looking after our well-being. So it's not those formal conversations that we have. It's about picking up on people's body language, for example, their work patterns, their behaviour. I've seen more and more people online that I work with just trying to find that balance, so that they have their workplace well-being, emotionally healthy, and still being able to have that social interaction as well.
And it is that, isn't it? It's a real balance, isn't it? Because you want to sort of, welcome, your colleagues back from a holiday, and you want to find out what they've been up to. You have a little catch up, but at the same time, it's like, well, they might have been away for a little period, or they could have been sick, and they've been off maybe for months, and you want to sort of catch up with them, make sure they're okay, but at the same time, you need to bring them up to speed with work. And it's probably, it's quite hard for a lot of people to manage that, isn't it? Because it can be quite difficult, and you sort of can get some blurred lines there.
Yeah, and it's about navigating as well. That kind of well-being, it can be a challenge. And when we think about it in that workplace, it's about keeping motivated as well. If someone has been off for a long period of time, and they return to work, just knowing that in the lead up to them returning to work, they might be feeling anxious. And if that's the case, to actually reach out to them in the days before they return, to even suggest maybe just walking in with them on their first day back. Those little things that we can do to support our colleagues on big returns is really important to people's mental health, their emotional health.
And say, for example, there's an imbalance in the workplace. Someone's vaping, smoking a lot. They're going for regular breaks, or they're always on the phone, and other work colleagues have also gone, God, I wish they'd pull their weight, and it's sort of bringing the team down in some sense, or they feel that they're not working as hard. How would you tackle such an issue like that?
It's about making sure there's clear lines, or actually just, I suppose not reporting is the wrong word, but to start the conversation, to make it clear, because somebody who is taking frequent breaks might not necessarily see it as a problem unless it's pointed out to them. So they could be quite oblivious to it. And again, that feeds into our belief systems and our own values. So again, if I don't see something as a problem, unless it's pointed out by my team, my colleagues, then I'll just continue to do exactly what I've been doing. So it's about challenging the behavior, but only if you realize that it is an issue to begin with. Does that resonate as well?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, this is I find, in a lot of circumstances, and chatting to friends and family, this is half the problem, is if people aren't made aware of what's going on, they can't correct it. No. And it's how you approach that which is important. And this is why, I feel it's so important that you have great communication in the workplace, because you either speak to your manager, your team leader, whoever it might be, and just speak to them about it in confidence, and just say, look, this is the issue we've got. This is the problem. What are you going to do about it? Because that's their job as a team leader or a manager or an owner, whatever it might be. Because if that person's not made aware of it, and if you as a work colleague say it, it might not be taken seriously, or in the manner in which you do it. But if it comes from someone of the hierarchy, then hopefully they will pay attention to it a little bit more.
Yeah, absolutely. That comes down to like regular appraisals, isn't it? Where you're kind of having that regular contact with your supervisor, with your manager, checking in to see if you're where you should be, that you're reaching the outcomes that you both agreed on. So again, it's that multi-layer approach. So it's manager down, top down, as well as kind of just your peer support and peer mentoring as well.
Yeah, well, we'll bring in Carl Williams, actually. He's jumping on board and joining us this evening, our fitness expert guru, as well as helping us on the wellbeing train. Good evening, Carlos. How you doing, buddy?
Good evening, guys. Good evening, all. Good evening, Pure West listeners. I'm great.
Yeah, he's beaming. It was Carl's birthday yesterday, so happy birthday for yesterday, buddy. Hope you had a good one.
Thank you very much. I'm feeling younger, so maybe my clock's gone backwards.
Happy days.
Like Benjamin Button, just going back.
Well, you're looking great, my man. It's fabulous to have you on the show this evening. So we've got some great topics that we're tackling tonight, Carl. Workplace wellbeing being one of them that we're discussing at the moment. Also, we're looking at seasonal affective disorder, SAD, a type of depression that comes and goes during that seasonal pattern, which it seems to affect us all at some stage or in some way, shape, or form. And also surface level care as well. We're going to be having a bit of a gas about that this evening. So plenty happening on today's show. If you have just joined us this evening as well, Tammy and I opened up with the show just to let you know that there is currently a scam happening to Pure West Radio listeners and followers on our social pages. Just to let you know, there is a fake profile doing the rounds of myself, getting people to enter card details for a competition. But just to let you know that it is a fake profile. We'll never ask you for bank details. We will never ask you to fill out any personal details at all for any competition. So if in doubt, please do message the team via our pages. So yeah, we were just sort of kicking off with that one, Carl, really, because that does affect the workplace. You know, if someone's having themselves imitated, or there's fake profiles or malicious cyber attacks happening, it does affect people.
We get it all the time whenever we do any competitions and things. And you know, you've got to look at it as a positive. You're obviously reaching a certain amount of people, and they're thinking they can capitalize on it. But it's just being aware, because it, you know, the stresses that lead is, firstly, it ruins your reputation. Whether it's you or whether it's not, the sour grapes are in your mouth because they just, you know, link it to you. But just stepping back on what you guys are talking there, something that I found have worked well when I used to manage a big team in the fitness marketing industry is when we had a team member that had potential, that did well in spurts, but you could, you know, we needed to get more out of them to kind of bring the bar up, so to speak. Partnering up team members was really, really good. We found that if you had a gun, somebody that was just blasting it all the time, is you would get them to work with these people, maybe subliminally, as opposed to like kind of, right now I'm going to take you under my wing. And you would just let them feed off their enthusiasm and their processes. And what that would do, it would naturally bring them into that. You become the people that you hang around most. Okay, so if you're around a gun all the time, and you know, and they're doing this and they're firing on all cylinders, and they phrase something differently, that might get, you know, because it's down to what makes that individual tick. And if that person isn't motivated for a certain reason, by pairing them up with the right person that has a little bit of a different perspective, works imminently. It's the grasshopper effect, we call it.
No, I mean, it's a really interesting point, that actually, because then they've got that real sort of support network. They've got somebody else there, and as you say, it's always subliminal. They might not even realize that someone's supporting them. I mean, at the other end of that as well, Tammy, you know, you help support people that have maybe been through bad experiences in the workplace.
Yes, and again, it's that I would always focus on moving forward, the present and moving forward, as opposed to dwelling on the past. So again, those people who have had bad experiences, for example, we can't go back and change it. So let's look at the here and now and moving forward. So focusing on how I want to be at work, as opposed to how I don't want to be in work. So again, just looking at the positives.
And if someone has sort of been, you know, bullied out of the workplace, or now they have a phobia of going back into a workplace for whatever reason, and it could even be post-COVID, you know, they're used to working in isolation and they're just finding it really difficult to get back into a workplace that has lots of people, lots of characters, as Carl was saying. You know, you've got your guns in one corner, and you know, you might have your silent disco in another. So you know, it's finding that happy medium, isn't it? What sort of advice, Carl, would you have to someone that, you know, is trying to get back into that sort of environment?
I've just mentioned the word earlier. I'll probably use it a few times tonight. It's what makes that person tick. It's finding out what resonates with them mostly, and you know, and being at their level. If you've got a good manager, you've got a good people person, they should be able to distinguish what type of route. And I guess it's the same way we do in PT and you do with your clients and things. Is every single person is different. So it's understanding what you think would work well with them, and kind of, you know, using those drawing questions. You know, it's asking some stuff about how, you know, what did they do? Not how was your weekend, because it's too open. What made you excited about the weekend? You know, that type of thing. And then what you're doing is you're instantly getting them on a positive high. They're thinking in a positive frame of light, and you know, that is the way where you can get people becoming more relaxed, talking to you about their good experiences. And then you can kind of use, if you've got that manager, again, like I'm saying, you can then utilize their positives and that, you know, their fire and in their belly in order to kind of help generate them and make them feel more comfortable in that place. Team building exercises is another one to do. Doing little things within the office, and if you know that between 1 and 3 o'clock is a really stressful, high traffic time, then it's kind of having a little bit of an easy time before it, putting some music on in the background or whatever it might be, having a little bit of fun at lunch. You got that motivational speaker saying, I'm going to kill this, in the afternoon, getting pumped up and reared up, ready to go. We do it with the dance skills. My sister's got a very, very successful dance team now, but I remember 5-6 years ago back, and they were afraid to get on the dance floor against these particular teams, and they're like, oh my God, we've got no chance. They're in a different league to us. So I'm jumping around. I've had a few beers on a weekend, and I'm up there supporting them. I'm like getting them in circles, getting them in a huddle, and I'm telling them about themselves and how great they are and what they're good at. And and I'm sat there going, do you know how awesome you are? Do you know that these people are actually fearing you? It's just they've got a better front. They've just got a better game face. You know what I mean? It's just about kind of understanding that person and just having them believe in themselves by just a few words and a few directional changes.
And that's
I really like. Sorry, Carl.
Sorry. And that's all you need sometimes, isn't it? You just need a good cheer up. You just come on, you got this. What were you going to say, Tammy?
Sorry, Toby. Obviously just agreeing with Carl. It's just that just that happiness, that positivity is contagious. Yeah. And if you say it, with that smile, with that intent, with that in clarity, it will be picked up on by other people. And again, we go back to the lockdown, we go back to the pandemic where people just wore masks. It was really, really hard to read people's faces. We didn't see that smile. We didn't see what was happening below. And again, it's just that I'm happy. And because I'm happy, you've got two options. You can either stay where you are, or you can come up to where I am. Because I'm not going to come down to where you are. So I'm going to give you all the resources, all that energy to join me. And I don't mean that to kind of just be everyone in the office just being really just hypo and just happy. But
yeah, it doesn't need to be Wolf of Wall Street. Yeah.
Into like some kind of musical dance. But whatever it is to them is what I mean. Yeah.
Well, musical dance, that is a wonderful use of a phrase there, Tammy, because Drew Baker's been in touch, head honcho at Vision Arts, and from behind the stage door on a Sunday from 5. He's put everyone in a musical, the best teamwork ever. Well, I mean, if it's easy to get everyone into a musical, I think it would. Vision Arts is the arts accessible to everyone. I mean, there's nothing to stop it from happening. I guess everyone just have a good old little sing and dance in the workplace. But it's really interesting, isn't it? How different businesses, different organisations use different methods to sort of get the most out of their team. And I think, here in Pembrokeshire, we don't have huge call centres, and, we don't have massive insurance brokers and huge office blocks. We often work in smaller groups, and we all know everyone's aunties and uncles, and somehow we will find a link to know someone that is related to them. And, in those smaller group environments, say if there's 3 people in an office, and one of them's just feeling a little bit down, and you think there's something wrong, and they just keep shrugging it off. What would you say to them, Tammy? How would they approach it the best way, just to either support them, and without you don't want to pry too much, but you want to show them that you're there to support them?
I think it's just really important to actually just be honest with everyone. To say, it's okay if you don't feel okay. And also it's okay to chat, and that you are there to have those conversations, but you don't want to be kind of forcing it. And again, it's on an individual basis, like, exactly what Carl said. It's about just kind of like understanding that person. And if you are in that tight community, that tight team, you'd naturally get to know what make people work or what people don't like. But again, it's just that starting point is to have those conversations and to check in with people.
Yeah, that's all you need sometimes, isn't it? Just are you okay? Yeah. No, but are you okay?
But,
Yeah.
do you know what the other thing is? And I've got to jump in there. I've got to kind of go back on my thing as well. I will never say to someone, "How are you?"
Yes, you said
only
this
because
before. Yeah.
and I should have it on a slogan, but
You
it's similar
should.
to what what Carl's touched on. By saying how are you, that we as humans we can default to a negative.
It is. It's too easy, isn't it?
And it's too easy, and I'm not sure if it's more of a British culture where you're kind of easy. Your reply is "I'm fine," as opposed to actually it's a bit of a rubbish day. But if you actually say to someone, what's been good about your day, give you one good thing that's happened this morning.
Yeah.
It encourages people to
The thing
engage with the
it's almost a
intellectual part of the
rhetorical
brain.
question, isn't it? It's like, or how you doing? You okay?
Yeah.
Isn't
I've
it?
answered it for you.
Well, yeah, it's a
I mean,
rhetorical question.
I mean, the thing is with that, it's when you're in those small group environments, it's a fine line between opening and closing the door. But depending on what your question is, you can close that door off, and they're even further away from opening up than they were before. So it's doing it the right way. And like I said, you've got all these different techniques that different people have, but my one is appreciation. I think everybody appreciates appreciation. So it's you go into a day and you just comment on what they're wearing. You look really nice, and even if they're not wearing anything nice, you look really energized today. You look really plugged. You know what I mean? There's so many things. Oh wow, that pen looks really good. It doesn't matter.
I'm glad you paid attention to my pen. I'm glad you like it, Carl. Thank you.
It's one of those things that you've just got. God, you look like you had some great sleep last night. It doesn't matter what it is. You've just got to open the door for them to feel appreciated and noticed in a good way. And what that does, it just settles them. And then you can go, so tell me about your weekend. Again, it's not how was your weekend? Tell me about it. Give them an opportunity to vent or praise what happened. And then if they vent, okay, no worries. Well, why did it make you feel that way? Again, it's not shutting off a conversation, it's opening the doors. So it's about the questions that you ask, and the way that you ask them will make the difference between somebody really showing you or going away from you and having a bad day in work, or opening up and raising that spirit in that office.
Yeah, I agree completely there, Carl. I think it's that kind of like we have that, the emotional part and the logical part. And if we're in the emotional part and we don't ask the right questions, then we are going to kind of close that door and we get further and further away. By having those conversations which encourage the logical part, that sensible part to answer, then we are going to get close to that person. We're going to be able to explore avenues that we wouldn't have if you've gone the other way. So yeah, spot on.
I mean, I feel we're very fortunate here at POS Radio, for example. I get to speak to wonderful people like yourselves that have a huge, incredible experience, knowledge of lots of different areas, and we apply a lot of that to ourselves. And we have various different check-ins, and we have one-to-ones. We have very open forum. First thing we do on a Monday is, right, give us the goss. What happened at the weekend? Let's just go on. What happened? And we'll have a really good, sometimes it's 10 minutes, sometimes it's half an hour. We'll have a really good social chat. And then we're like, cool. So there's no coming back to it later on. I know what you did. It was cool. That was crazy. That happened. I can't believe that happened. We're here today. Oh, I bumped into so-and-so. Oh yeah, I saw so-and-so. Oh, we saw one of our clients up a pole, whatever it might be. We'll have a really good chat about it, laugh about it. And then we'll just get cracking. And then later on, you'll be like, oh yeah, remember that happened. And, but we just have a really good open forum. I feel it really works. And working with Carl on the health and fitness side of things, we did a 12-week lifestyle transformation. And, that's a really key point, which Frank's got in touch and said tonight about lunchtime fitness gets the mind working better. Positivity does lift people. I mean, Carl, you can take the lead on this one.
Yeah, absolutely. Move more, it creates more energy. It creates more output, creates more productivity. We're all winning. That's what it is. It's people who sit at their desks all day and they don't get out to move about. They're getting more and more tired, and it's just a slippery slope. So the more you can move about, I mean, I rave about, and I put my computer standing up on the top of the desk a lot of the time, so I can stand up and I can move, and I put a little bit of music in the background. And if you know me, I like music. I might rap a track or two now and then in between, but it's about just kind of being able to move and being able to kind of energize yourself and have that freedom to be able to feel comfortable in your workplace. And if that is having a little bit of a workout. I mean, I've gone to businesses, and when I was living over in America, I used to go and do a workout with a corporation like 3 days a week. It's fantastic. It's a reset button. I mean, when you look at some of the financial companies and you look at the architecture places in America, they have sleep pods, and you have to do a minimum of 4 15-minute naps in a workday. That's their reset, because they're in a high stressful job. So it's kind of, all these different approaches will work. But it's what I think I'm getting at is you need to be able to switch off for a period of time and then refresh, whether that is your sleep, whether that's go out and walk in the grass, whether it's go and lie in the park if you get the odd sunny day in Pembrokeshire, whatever it might be, or move and go and have a workout, whatever it is. You've got to be able to have time to switch off, to refresh, to reboot, and then go again.
I mean, it's so important, and in sort of the other side of the world, in Asia, it's a huge part. In fact, I mean, it's ingrained in their working culture. They at the call centers, their chairs turn into beds, and they don't actually work. You might think, oh yeah, because they're working silly long hours, and believe it or not, they're not actually working any more hours than we do. They have just worked out scientifically, and they see the efficiency that, as you say, taking 3 to 4 15-minute naps across an 8-hour workday, plus maybe larger chunks for break and lunch, you get much more productivity. You get much more from your workforce. I mean, Tammy, why is that efficient? Why should we tell employers to say, right, down tools, go and get a nap?
I think if you kind of like look back at lockdown and how people were able to relax better, but they still were able to be effective, still be able to be productive. It's because they were able to relax. And what we're seeing now is to be able to have those brief relaxation moments in our working day. Again, as Carl said, it's just about that refocus, that recharge. It's about just re-engaging and also just becoming relaxed mentally and physically. It's so important. They go hand in hand. And, I go back to, as what Frank said, lunchtime fitness gets the mind, working better in the day. I know we don't have the kind of sunny climates as, America, Asia, Australia example, but just to be able to get outdoors, that fresh air, it can be enough to actually reset, to refocus, just that moment of just distracting us from our day-to-day, what we're doing. Taking away that stress because we're doing something that we enjoy is just so beneficial to us as people.
Carl, what would you say to people that have an incredibly physically demanding job, say a scaffolder, a builder? You're on site from 7:30 in the morning till 4:30. They can't really stop other than for a cup of tea or coffee or for lunch. They don't really need to do a physical workout because it's already very physical. What sort of advice could you give to sort of any sort of any real hands-on grafters that maybe are struggling a little bit and just need a little breather during the day?
Yeah, I mean, I know lots of them, lots of those people are my friends, family, and acquaintances, and I think the thing that works for them is their camaraderie in their team. A break time at a building site or a scaffolding yard or whatever it's like going down the pub and having a couple of beers with your mates. So it's having that time where they can switch off and they talk about what happened in the football, the rugby, what's going on with their partners or whatever else it might be. It's just being able to take the mind off what they're doing. If it is having that rest, like they said, they do a lot in America and Asia and whatnot, having the rest. Now, I know you haven't got a bed in a scaffold truck, but it's getting back, it's getting out. How many scaffolders do you see sat on the side of the road, having a chat to people as they're walking past the road, having a cig or having a cup of coffee and just chatting with the people in the street? You look at a scaffolder, they're probably the most social people in town. I know old school builders and whatnot. They see a building site going up and they go down there to chat with them in their lunchtimes because it's their highlight of their day. You know what I mean? It's that camaraderie. And I think it's just being able to take what you can and what works for you. Like you said, have that rest, have that cuppa, have that bit of banter, And then obviously you've got your downtime then of a nighttime or morning before you go.
Yeah, great stuff. Fantastic first part. Thoroughly enjoyed it. We will be back with you in just a few moments, and hopefully we're not making you sad. Hopefully we're injecting some good advice, and hopefully you're able to apply some of this. Maybe even to your workplace this evening, tonight, if you're working a night shift, or potentially when you go to work in the morning. Up next, though, we're going to be looking at seasonal affective disorder. It's a type of depression that comes and goes with the seasons. And as I was saying before, my daughter is the complete opposite. She hates the sun. She hates the warmth. Unlike her dad's complete opposite. I have no idea where she gets it from. She doesn't get it from her mother either, but she gets it from somewhere. She can't wait for autumn. So having this heat wave at the start of September, she's absolutely devastated. So it affects lots of people in different ways. Lots of us at the moment are still probably, quite happy with the temperature, although lots of people have been complaining. It's really close. It's really muggy, all this humidity. So the season does really take a huge effect on our emotional state. So we'll be talking about that next, right here on Healthy Minds, Better Lives. Carl and Tammy will also be joining us next after some Rick Astley here on PWR. Don't forget, you can get involved with the show this evening. Get in touch right now on your WhatsApp, 01437 764455. That's 01437 764455. Of course, you can give that number a call as well, Haverfordwest 764455, or it's at Pure West Radio on your socials. We'd love to hear from you this evening.
We're no strangers to love.